Welcome, educators, to the Pine Project. I'm Melanie Junkins, Family Engagement Specialist with the Maine Department of Education. We are excited to embark on this bold initiative to create meaningful engagement in our schools. By providing accessible resources that reflect diverse student experiences, we cultivate belonging and support impactful conversations about diverse demographics. The Pine Project uses two innovative tools created by the nonprofit I'm Your Neighbor Books to help educators and students navigate social-emotional learning. The first is the Welcoming Library Pine Collection, a selection of 30 picture books with embedded SEL-aligned discussion questions featuring the experiences of immigrant families and their new generations. The second is the Pine Project Professional Development, which is a self-guided training to use the featured picture books to teach self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. This is not a curriculum. Instead, this is an application of the framework from the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, in short, CASEL. We aim to enhance understanding of diverse experiences and foster inclusive school environments. We extend our deepest gratitude for your persistence, dedication, and commitment to fostering inclusive learning environments. Together, we will make a lasting impact and help every student thrive.
We are stories. This is a quote from the award-winning and astonishing picture book, Dreamers by Juju Morales. These three words are at the center of the mission of my nonprofit, I'm Your Neighbor Books, and at the center of the work we will do together on the Pine Project. Picture book narratives invite readers to step into a human moment. In picture books, we often see this story arc. A character and their identity are presented, conflict arises, conflict is resolved, and in that resolution, a sense of family and community belonging is affirmed and solidified. These 32-page dramas have always been a classroom tool for social and emotional learning. But can certain picture books take us deeper? I'm Your Neighbor Books, the Maine Department of Education, and a team of incredible educators led by Michelle Amato have been asking this question. How can picture book narratives become a safe and productive space for educators and students to include race and culture in their exploration of social emotional learning? Picture books, novels, and graphic novels featuring modern, immigrant, and new generation students and families are a new and growing genre of children's literature. It is the work of I'm Your Neighbor Books to find these titles and curate them into collections that we call welcoming libraries. These welcoming libraries received an official commendation from the American Association of School Librarians for, quote, building a stronger culture of welcoming and belonging in U.S. schools, unquote. The commendation is not only for the Welcoming Library collection and how it's shared between locations, but for the discussion questions that we place in the back pages. Influenced by CASEL and informed by the book's creators and community members, these questions open opportunities for SEL and cultural competency growth. The books in the welcoming libraries are shared in classrooms to create a crucial sense of belonging for the 26% of US students that are immigrants or the children of immigrants. Juju Morales writes about how the discovery of picture books transformed her experience as an immigrant mother. In Dreamers, she said, books became our language. Books became our home. The books you'll be using as part of the Pine Project can create a sense of home for your newcomer and new generation students. They also strengthen the social emotional skills of non-immigrant students. Our pilot project demonstrated that these picture books and this professional development greatly increased educators' comfort and ability to have conversations about race and culture within their CASEL teaching. Each of the picture books in the Welcoming Library is not only a story of migration, but an SEL journey to belonging. How? Every immigrant story features a character learning to navigate and integrate their identity within the larger and often unfamiliar American culture. Prior to migration, individuals may not have had the opportunity to examine their culture or even their race. These aspects of their identity may have been fully in sync with their fellow citizens and in sync with the majority culture. Arriving in the US, immigrants face a majority race, a majority culture that makes their own race, culture, and beliefs stand out. Suddenly, immigrants become part of Americans' diversity. For example, African immigrants to the US often have to adjust to being seen as Black after a lifetime of their skin color being unremarkable. Beautiful, but unremarkable. They suddenly have to negotiate all of the assumptions about and bias against the Black community in the US. Another example, Muslims emigrating to the US from majority Muslim countries are often forced to confront the assumptions and biases against Islam held by some Americans. These assumptions and biases force Muslim immigrants of all ages to examine, support, and even defend their faith in a way they never have. These racial and cultural negotiations do not stop with newcomers, but are handed down to each new generation. These negotiations played out in the real world and represented in all of this immigrant literature lead the protagonists to strengthen their identity, affirm their place in their cultural and broader community, and commit to making school spaces and out-of-school spaces inclusive. Does this sound like a powerful SEL journey? I promise you that it is. Immigrant and new generation literature offers a safe, story-based space for all students and educators to explore their identity, beliefs, and how they will enact those beliefs in a diverse classroom and in a diverse nation. The Pine Project Professional Development, envisioned and piloted in Maine, brought classroom educators together to explore teaching the SEL skills using a collection of 30 award-winning picture books in the Welcoming Library. With the support of the Maine Department of Education, the training explored how immigrant-focused literacy practice could open new pathways for educators and students to explore change in themselves, their classroom, and in their broader community. This multi-voice professional development invites all educators to examine their own identity development, discover and negotiate their own race and cultural-based biases, learn from a diverse cast of voices, and utilize immigrant and new generation children's literature. These new skills become a framework to enact change in racial and cultural inclusion and build classrooms and communities where we all belong. On the final page of Dreamers, Juju Morales says, "Someday we will become something we haven't even yet imagined." Welcome to that space where we can all imagine something different. Welcome to the Pine Project.
My name is Louise Eliafouri, career public school newcomer educator, author, consultant, and owner at Diversified Consulting. Our team works nationally and internationally to support businesses, schools, governments, and nonprofits in welcoming and integrating refugee and immigrant populations. I personally have been a part of the Refugee Serving Network for the last 2 decades, and it's a joy and an honor to share space with you today. Socio-emotional learning is a toolbox for self-preservation and collaborative, collective gain. It's not a tidy checkbox. It's not a fix for those kids. Done right, socio-emotional growth can help empower young people with the tools they need to confront the injustices in their life and collaborate pro-socially in their surroundings. So what do we do about it? We can check our narratives by avoiding broad sweeping statements. We can challenge our own biases and understand where our power and privilege sits. We can clarify our context and not teach SEL in isolation, but integrate it into the lives of our young people. And we can seek out pathways together. The truth is, a culturally responsive brand of SEL is still in its infancy. We are all responsible for shaping it into something that is better aligned to our students, all students, and especially those on the fringes. This is what the Pine Project guides us to. This is the space where we learn and grow and shape the future narrative of socio-emotional learning together.
My name is Abusana Mikibondo. I was born in Republic Democratic of Congo and raised between two continents, European continent and African continent. I am a leadership and education consultant, and I'm also serving on the school board at Portland, Maine. When we have diverse books in classroom or school libraries, it serves our students more. It's not about race, but it's about human values. It's about education and ensuring that we are lifting our students and to make sure the next generation knows about the value of culture. In my support for families, I try to give them time with the books where characters look like them. And I have always done that for families, and I keep doing that through every organization I serve. I want to make sure that we build awareness and bring an understanding and make sure that there is not only one single story. We do not want the one single story to be about immigrants, refugees, or people of color being persecuted, targeted, or simply perceived differently. We need a complete story of their full lives, especially how they come together and value education and literacy. Literacy is not about reading or writing, but about how you are opening somebody's mindset to the world we're living in.
Hi, my name is Emo Yüksel, and I'm the author of the Welcoming Library featured book in my mosque and several other children's books. I write stories I wish I had growing up, stories about diverse cultures and identities. As a Muslim American with Uzbek Turkish roots, I'm passionate about bringing my heritage and experiences to life in my books. Beyond writing, I'm also a teacher, and I'm dedicated to advocating for multicultural literature and often engage in educational initiatives such as this one to promote the importance of inclusive storytelling in our schools and libraries. I'm honored and excited to be a part of this project. I want to express my deep admiration and respect for educators. You are the real-life heroes with the power to shape our society and world. I'm here today as an author and speaker because of teachers like you who have inspired me throughout my life. As an educator, you have the power to create a classroom where every student feels seen, valued, and understood. A place where diverse stories foster belonging and open minds to the richness of our shared human experience. And it begins with the books you choose. Diverse books do more than just reflect the lives of marginalized students. They help all students build empathy, understanding, and a sense of global citizenship. When students see characters who look like them, who share their struggles and triumphs, they feel a deeper sense of belonging. They learn that their stories matter. But equally important, diverse books challenge stereotypes and false narratives and broaden perspectives, giving students the tools they need to think critically about the world around them. In today's interconnected world, where global events directly affect our classrooms and misinformation can easily take root, the stories we tell in our classrooms have never been more important. They shape how students view themselves and others, influencing their beliefs and actions. That's why diverse books are so important, even as they face challenges and bans across our nation. You, as teachers, have the power to change the narrative and create a more inclusive world through the books you choose for your classrooms. Thank you for your courage and commitment to making diverse books accessible to all students.
My name is Dejazad. I'm an Afghan writer, and I've been working with children and young adults for almost my entire adult life. Today, I'm here to talk about two of my picture books, The Carpet and Sour Cherries. Our narrator from The Carpet shows us how she manages to find and create the anchor that she needs, the emotional anchor, through tradition and this symbol that she's choosing, the carpet, that gives her the strength she needs. And it's just another human story. And my hope is for our children and students to see and get inspired to find their own emotional anchors within their own culture and family settings, and create these anchors to overcome the challenges that they're facing in their lives.
I hope Wishes contributes to the growing diversity of stories we hear and tell. And I hope that it will inspire some readers to tell their own stories. I think Wishes and other books like it remind us of our common humanity. And I hope that it will motivate some of us to do what we can, when we can, to make the world a little safer, to make the world a little kinder, to make the world a little fairer for everyone. And doing what we can when we can sometimes be as simple as saying hello and welcoming someone new into our community. Stories have the amazing power to change us, and we have the amazing power to change stories.
Our stories preserve history and identity, connecting us to the land we live on and reflecting our societal values. They open doors to different cultures and social norms, fostering empathy and understanding. Picture books in particular offer relatable characters and situations, allowing readers to explore diverse experiences, complex emotions, and social situations that help us navigate our own feelings. When we connect with a story on a personal level, it has the power to change us. I'm Michelle Amato, a lifelong learner, public school educator, and lead educator for the Pine Project. Educators, thank you for joining us on this collective journey. Remember, we too have the power to change stories. Here's how the Pine Project learning modules will be structured. We use the I do, we do, you do strategy, also known as gradual release, to structure this work. I do. These modules are for you, for your professional and personal growth. We do is after the completion of the Pine Project, when you bridge this learning back to your classroom. You do represents the skills your students will gain to help cultivate belonging in your classroom. This professional development series connected to the Welcoming Library includes brief lectures, optional reflective opportunities, and resource recommendations. While we don't provide lesson plans, we offer explorations and practices to help you teach SEL competencies in a relevant, inclusive, and equitable way. These modules will support your journey in discussing race and culture. Keep the books from the Welcoming Library Pine Collection at hand. We'll reference many of them throughout the modules. Sometimes you'll need to read a book before or after a session. Find a journal for your notes and reflections. During the modules, pause the videos as needed to read, watch, or write. As you work with immigrant and new generation picture books, you may make mistakes, but that's part of the learning process. Engage with a community of educators, friends, and family members to build support. And finally, take action. Professional development is most effective when applied immediately. So get ready to teach.
I'm Kirsten Cappy, the Executive Director of I'm Your Neighbor Books. This professional development was created at a particular time with a particular community of voices. Language, terminology, and perspectives constantly evolve and should evolve. At the time you navigate this training, those evolutions may have already taken place, on any detail of this professional development. In 1993, Brian Street, academic anthropologist, coined the phrase, "Culture is a verb." It is an ever-flowing and evolving path to remaining curious. While these learning modules are fixed in time, the impact is fluid. The impact is a verb. Because cultural humility means we use the most up-to-date information, but also listen to the voices that came before us. This is an acknowledgement that we have and will make mistakes. We too are evolving. Our mission here is to guide all of us towards the pivotal goal of fostering a more equitable society. Thank you for doing this work with us.